of Dr. Sardana. And this has been a very quite popular series that could connect to thousands of students and teachers, and it gave them an opportunity to directly discuss their queries, their questions, get the answer of their questions from the scientist directly. Dr. Sardana has been a mentor for this Jigyasa program, which is led by CSIR, and we are successfully implementing it CSIO. In the second series, that is Let's Talk Science, What, Why, and How 2.0, we are conducting this series in collaboration with several Chandigarh chapter of INIAS, INSA, NASI, and SPSTI. So as a first lecture for this series, we have with us Professor H.K. Sardana, who is actually retiring from this organization today. And to give a tribute to him, the kind of love sir has for the science communication, for the students, for the teachers, the mentorship he has given to youngsters is worth mentioning. So we look forward to his address today, which is on a very interesting topic. He's today going to talk about connecting spirituality and science. So with these few words, I would like to invite Dr. Sardana to deliver today's presentation and share how we could connect our spirituality with the science, which is something new for many of us to learn. Thank you, sir, and welcome.
Thank you, Pooja, and everybody who are associated with today's talk. So, yeah, in addition to what Pooja mentioned, I'll just add that uh, I've been following some kind of spiritual practices. So, most of the learnings that I'm sharing are largely from the scientific discipline as a career and some kind of personal inclination towards spirituality, some kind of practices I've been following. So some of them may be reflected. So I'll just share some material. Hopefully that would help every one of us. Yeah. Is it all fine, visible?
Yes, sir. It's visible, yes.
Okay. So as you see the title, in a minute, I'll just. Yeah. So it is about your science. Actually, you may take it as my science, and how spiritual intelligence, you know, together work for each other. That's primarily the topic, and largely, as Pooja mentioned, it seems to be an area of scientific research or maybe spiritual research as well, wherein I have postulated few things. They are more of initial thoughts, exploratory, tidbits of experiments, or truly not experiments, experiences gained over last 2 decades. So somewhere there's no claim, but these are some of the thoughts that seem to be connecting with each other. So this course that we are trying to do today could consider on these three aspects, separated as you see, how your science helps in spirituality and how spirituality helps your growth in science. You could put it the other way around also. Well, I have just put it this way. Similarly, how, parallelly we see a lot of intelligence in the systems have gained what we call mimicking the human mind or living beings. So they have also been growing in terms of the intelligence. So they are man's creation. So how that also has been my reflection in research towards spirituality and how the two go in parallel because of this human mimicking of systems, machines towards intelligence. So I also see some parallels there, which are how machines have been mimicking human mind and lessons learned from machine intelligence, how as a collective larger cloud based intelligence is modeling how human evolution might have occurred. So parallels there also. And another one is how science and spirituality as a field, as a discipline, help building each other, right? And how they add to your personal spiritual intelligence. So there are triangles, there are parallels here, and there is something more that I would share. Not all is very fine print or finally concluded. In fact, this discourse probably has hardly any conclusions, more of thoughts to share with you. And probably I would see if there are reflections today itself or later that might help us all together grow with this subject matter. Scientifically speaking, probably, you know, initial conquering of, nature from mankind has been the invention. Well, this is known, so I will just go quickly on this. So invention of wheel, which really started moving, and then you know humans also started moving. We are talking about something not in the initial phase, but in the phase where when the invention of wheel occurred. So that gives us some dimension of time and space, and that's how the two show similarity also. There's a lot of similarity, and then maybe the initial clocks and even today's clocks, other than digital ones, continue to move like that. Okay, so that is just to give you the dimensions of science, and that goes with today's data as well. So today we seem to be capturing the whole nature into. So parallelly, I am bringing the virtual domain also. So in a way, there is a parallel here also. How we were evoluted from invention of wheel. Maybe today's cloud, today's intelligence in the systems is following similar evolutions. So that's something, some parallels here. So some analogies. From there, I'm trying to connect few thoughts. So maybe here, well known in science, we have humans. So all science, I believe, when we say it is for society, from the people to the people, so therefore, there's a lot of there's a lot of subjectivity in a way. So the people remain very active. I would say the only active elements other than independent time and space variables. That's another aspect of science only, but that shows that how they are creating another world in terms of virtual space. Okay, so that then these dimensions of science, of course, we have been considering, and also some principles that we follow, that how we generate science, how we generate knowledge. We say whatever stands the tests of these three dimensions, we accept them. We accept them as laws, as scientific laws. And if they happen to be tending towards infinity, if there is any universal truth that surpasses these dimensions of time, space, and people, probably that's beyond science. Even. That's the truth we might consider. So other than that, typically with some limitations of time, space, and people, we feel scientific laws do prevail, and that's how we have been advancing in science. Then, where does spirituality come in? How does it help? Can it help accelerate this process? Probably that's the title we chose. Is there any way of some other connection other than social, peer, professional, material, and the space that we work in, other than the experimental domain that we work in, is there some other domain which could accelerate it, or could it broaden in terms of its effectiveness? These are some of the questions that we can consider. Maybe how the bounds of time, space, and people could be enhanced. That could be truly an enhancements of science, maybe through spirituality. Well, curiosity remains the basis. We know that, and there is no denial on that. So there are younger children, school-going teachers, parents probably. So they could see that they are the best natural, you know, living beings in that position of advancement, though their own advancements comes first, and then the general population knowledge research comes later. So they first they build themselves through curiosity, and then they add scientific knowledge to others. So that's, but they have a lot of growth in the early phase from the curiosity that remains the basis of science. So first they build their own intelligence, and then they share as they grow after graduation to post graduation to researcher, then they contribute to science. So that's what, as I say in this line, last line, we may then continue to learn throughout the life. So even when we start contributing as we are doing today, as I am trying to do, there's no stoppage here that on one day a person, you know, is mature enough and starts generating knowledge. So there's nothing like production of knowledge from humans. uh, Part of the knowledge gets shared, and most of it gets, you know, learned for individuals' own development. So this goes in parallel again, though there may be some phase differences as I mentioned, I might have experienced something today or in the last few years, in fact, and sharing today, bit of it may not be still fine or crystalline knowledge. Okay, parallels again. So there may be a lot of variations in the presentation. As I said, some of you may find comfortable, or some of you find new to them. But if you could connect them, probably I could share the connections that I built in the beginning slightly better. So one parallel I normally do is, to me, that the way I said, the humans are making a virtual space. So more and more data, more and more fineness in the data. The moment the fineness comes in there, the volume increase even exponentially. So if you see some dimensions here, some comparisons here put in here, particularly in terms of few first parameters, probably that would make a sense. That in the virtual domain, when we talk, we say largely, data units. They may be encompassing, towards the physical world. So they are trying to represent the physical world, while physical world anyway in nature's creation would go down to atom levels. Or that's what we know. So in a way, as we learned nature at the atom level, or even subatom level, then we have gone up to some units of data also, which is far inferior or coarser than the world made by nature anyway. So in a way, that parallel and that race also continues somewhere in man's world, or man's virtual world versus the natural world in which we are living. So there's a lot of you know in living kind of learning that I see. So there's a lot of following that we see, a lot of parallels we see in the two subject matters of science and spirituality that I said. So if you see, there could be a lot of comparison here, but I have given few of them here, in terms of properties also. Then accordingly, they are limited in the virtual domain. In the real domain, they tend to be very unique at every atomic level, or at least few molecules level, or some material level. So they tend to be very localized and unique. while at the moment we have rough equivalence of that in terms of virtual domain. So their properties are limited, and if they are available, they tend to be uniform also. Impurity, well, the way the synthetic world goes, as far as it could, it can do, it claims to have no impurity, over unless there are, man-made corruption of data or some kind of physical loss to the data. Other than that, we assume that impurity as such, in terms of the assumptions, it is negligible or nil. Actually, not negligible; it's nil, unless there is some kind of corruption. Well, in materials, it tend to occur. So what they say, in natural form, materials remain in always changing form. So therefore, those impurities continue to play, and the uniqueness at every minute level continues to work. Well, uniformity, as I already said. So I don't need to describe everything mentioned here since the material is shared. So the point is that there are parallels of the two worlds, and there are levels of achievements also. While billions of years have gone into evolution of mankind, and the knowledge humans have gained, and the human mind that has been developed, well, we are in some way far away from that in creating, through internet and through internet of things, such devices. We are trying to follow something similar, in the same way as nature or universe is connected. We are hoping, we think we have internet or cloud and everything. So we are, even the word cloud comes the same way as from natural cloud. So these things have been going in parallel. It might seem that we may catch up with nature, but you all can have different opinions how far or how close we are towards nature in that race, or in not truly a race, I would say. Parallelly, today we might call race, but it has anyway happened after human evolution. So the nature is far ahead of it. As a mother nature, we are lagging, probably. So there are many, many points like that. Few more. Well, those who are into the field might see, as I said, in terms of dimensions. We say in terms of data, huge dimensions exist. Physically, even in natural situation, we say time, space, and people remain the independent dimensions. There also, I would say, truly the dimensions could go in terms of characterizations. We keep having all kind of characterizations. So they sub dimensions of time, space, and people also continue to grow. And availability. So I don't need to go on describing many things here. But last point probably could be, see, this could be of concern to this audience and this discussion, that in terms of intelligence, we have been following so far very, very narrow, or very limited intelligence, and trying to have depth of that, as we say, deep learning algorithms approaches. And humans, by far superior, everybody maintaining billions of processing elements in their brain, highly optimized towards energy and its power of you know computing or power of processing. So the two seem to be far off, though with infrastructure that machines are building, the internet is already there. So the advantage is that the way the infrastructure for man-made cloud and and virtual systems is building up, probably the advantage is that it is adding up to the knowledge. So it's like it is showing its oneness, while nature has shown us all unique. So that's not a parallel in a way. So we remain individuals and remain very potential intelligent beings. At the same time, machines show their distributedness in terms of distributed intelligence versus the collective intelligence separately. So there are the clear differences of levels. These parallels could be the point of discussions actually. Okay, so again, back to the intelligence of how we gained intelligence, or how children, or how we are put up today. So how do we get it? How do we get it? Well, we talked about child inquisitiveness from the very beginning. And so how curiosity, inquisitiveness continues to build that knowledge, initially more in a mundane style, and then later on in a conscious style, and then in dissemination, as we say in science. So communication also in science. So what is this whole process? I mean, where do we get it from? I initially titled it as "Where do we get it?" but then I changed it to make it more appealing to the people in the first instance as to how do we do it. I mean, more like scientific talk. I would preferably call it how. Where do you get it from? So where is the source of intelligence? So intelligence by definition is limited. It appears to me, at least, when you say intelligence, all intelligence agencies will have a very little time space and maybe some notorious people's awareness about them. So there's very limited, just for enough to act kind of what we call that as intelligence. But human beings continue to hold it from the birth onwards or before. So what is this whole process? I mean, again, very little of that justification we might do in few minutes, but still I'm trying to do that. So nature, probably Mother Nature, we are built up from nature. So we are the elements of nature. So in a way, there seems to be connect that maybe nature is pushing some kind of knowledge, information, intelligence to us to make it worth, to make it relevant. So maybe nature is upgrading, nature is, improving every moment the way we all humans behave. So that is something again. All of us may have opinions on this. So I've thrown some views, but some notes I am sharing, not all being discussed, but thrown before you, maybe in very raw form. Well, with that discussion, maybe the title could be acceptable to most of us. That maybe with the uniqueness that we all possess, so individually, maybe nature has a purpose behind it, and destined to do certain things for us. So we have a role. Probably that gives us uniqueness. So accordingly, the level of intelligence required also may vary. So in a way, there's a lot of freedom. There's a lot of independent, despite being connected. That is something, certain things might seem surprising also the way we start thinking. Well, there are no contradictions. However, initially anomalies and contradictions might stop us from growing. But if we really see some patient observations, there are no true contradictions actually. So this is just the way our own knowledge might contradict, but as such, stability of nature itself shows that as such there's no opposite planning anywhere from nature. So that's probably about the uniqueness of each one of us. Well, in terms of how humans tend to do, we say in science we gain knowledge, we try to solve problems. So what are those problems? Where have they come from? I mean, if somebody may say pandemic has been a natural problem, or anything happening in forest fire, maybe maybe an earthquake, or many things may appear to be natural disasters, as we say. So we try to see how we can learn from them or how we can avoid them. So sometimes we feel as if mother and it's like mother and a child have a some kind of opposition or some kind of teaching or a punishing style. All those things could be the way people might be thinking. But to me, it appears most of the observations are from the people. If something is happening, some of us feel, oh, there is a problem. So we create some problem. I would say create or identify, as we do in all research scholars' work. So what we call is identification of a problem. So if we don't identify the problem, was it not there? Is it not a discovery of the problem, or the problem might be there for years, for decades? So it is that's how the title goes, that uh, we define it, we create it. Sometimes we create it in the sense, even in a negative sense, that problem creators, as we call some people as problem creators. And then we say solved. Some of us, those who defined, think they have solved the problem, but the rest of the world says not solved yet. Also, there are gaps always, and this research and advancement of knowledge continues. So this process goes on. Very little of that goes to the society, and largely it remains under evolution, and maybe they say conclusions also withdrawn or reiterated or modified until they attain some stability, some crystalline nature of solutions, then they help the society. So pandemic has been a very crash course to many researchers how problems are defined and how they are solved. Within last more than a year or so, about 2 years now, many researchers have learned this. While they may not agree to whether the pandemic is man-made or whether it is or the solutions are man-made. So I leave some of you to keep pondering over that. In that process, at times when people withdraw, and we believe that when they lose some kind of life energy, mental levels, uh, and they tend to go alone, and they so to me that alone loneliness is more like disconnect. So when they disconnect from their surrounding, it's like they are a bit angry, if I say, or they are not so happy with the environment. So, well, Mother Nature, even if Mother is angry or you are angry, Mother is always with you. So, to me, you are always surrounded by the environment, by every everything around you, whether it is air, water, or soul, or soil, or also basically those elements of human living, five elements, as we say, are always with you. And then once they are with you, then the whole nature is with you. So it's just that may be a game that you may play rather than being, getting alone. You could see few thoughts given here. And now if you see the the biggest gain that scientists have gained, serendipity, how does it connect with serendipity? Hmm? So maybe I need to elaborate on what is written here. So loneliness is probably the lowest level of state that humans might have for some time. But as I said, nature is waiting for you or always with you. But now, keeping that sad state away, in terms of regular science ventures that we do, we might see that sometimes some of us feel that a lot of efforts are required. I mean, when we want to achieve something, maybe we have some emotional, expectations, or there is a need for some kind of, say, like the pandemic pressures were there to develop certain medicines, vaccines, and all. So, if there are any desperation at our level, uh, away from the sadness of loneliness that I mentioned, so it now we need to see now how big is the natural, and how do you connect with nature? How do you find it? How magnanimity of nature can you observe? So if you really observe that much even, you will know the kind of efforts required to solve those challenges that nature has posed you. So therefore, at times we want to achieve or expect, I would say too much too early. That's where we feel desperate, or we fail, or we have patience or other sadness issues, or we feel quitting or losing or probably not working. So what I'm trying to share my own experience is that if you put that level of effort, that level of sincerity, avoiding any smart or shortcuts, well, nature is going to reward the same. No losses. The rewards are likely to be more than what you expect. Well, that whether it suits you or not, but nature will reward you abundantly because nature is abundant. So it will not give you little. It will not take little effort from you, not give you little. If it takes more effort, it will give you reward also more. So that's the probably the model we might make. It's like when you match, when you play with a big player, definitely you have to be a good player. So that's probably you can say. And the serendipity to me seems to be a little bit of explanation in that line. Those who continue to do sincerely, I won't say effortlessly or effort without feeling any load, all will get reward like serendipity. I mean, they get something more than what they wanted. Whatever they are doing is there, and they get a jackpots in science. So this is what I, from the sadness, from the loneliness of some of us, or at some times, there are serendipities waiting for us. So nature is waiting. Who gets that award? I mean, it's like serendipity award. That's what I feel is some of the scientists or some of us might have observed certain things happening even without any visible efforts, or some efforts reaping the fruits at some other times. So that's where I will build the probably the spirituality somewhere, that spiritual intelligence somewhere, that might be again playing underlined underneath. It may not be so visible, but then you know rewarding you in those ways. So again, some parallelism on the virtual domain. We talked about child's curiosity. We so I'm trying to say in a way, to a very limited, to a very narrow spectrum of intelligence to wider intelligence, as if humans' limitations of intelligence and machines' limitations are too narrow even. So we are seeing now in a way we might place machines made by humans, humans themselves, and nature in that parallel, and in a way now connecting their intelligence levels, whether it is narrow or wide or towards spiritual intelligence. So, in a way, and some kind of consciousness, the word is given here. So, probably some of these points have already been mentioned. So, I am moving uh, forward to bring these only if there is a further. Probably these points have already been shared in my previous discourse. So now, yeah, the title continues, and there are scientists now. There are people like me who, or those who are working in machine intelligence. They have been drawing a lot of analogies of the connects that I was sharing. So in a way, a lot of maybe some of it needs to be built for this audience. Uh, some of it I said, how are we learning? How are machines learning? How is this narrow intelligence working in machines? Well, for those who are listening it for the first time, we say narrow intelligence means a machine is able to do only one task and will do that task in some proficiency forever, will without any improvement, unless there are some upgrades. Like you have software upgrades, so there are intelligence upgrades the same way possible. But then it is very limited in that sense. Largely, say if there is an autopilot car or autopilot something or autopilot metro train, it will do that job only. It will not do anything other than that. Well, there's no human who will do any one task. So humans anyway from very birth have so much of intelligence, in a way potential level of intelligence, that they won't do, you know though some of us may say artists, musicians, or some of us tend to narrow themselves towards practicing, and trying to do only one thing. But as such, as potential human beings or any living beings for that matter, humans seem to have the highest of that spectrum of doing things. Other animals also do a variety of mundane tasks, so that you all aware. So what is that general intelligence? So that is what I'm trying to say. The machines show narrow and limited intelligence, while they're also, as you will see, scientists and engineers now moving towards general intelligence of machines. So we are in a way moving ahead on that also, wherein you could see machines broadening their intelligence. But as such, these are concepts already thrown for machines, but humans already have them. So in a way, people are predicting or moving towards research on man-made world the same way they are becoming conscious from their spiritual knowledge. So they are thinking first, what happened to human learning? How are human humans working. So the mimicry goes on. That's the point I can say. The mimicking of intelligence from nature, how living beings have gained it. So we seem to be copying those concepts, limiting in our own infrastructure or other developments that have been made so far. So trying to push and see how machines could behave, similar to us, and we know how good, how bad they are. So in terms of one scientist, he says Motaz, he talks about not only machine consciousness, he talks even artificial super intelligence. It is super intelligence, another word given to the machines in terms of, well, the consciousness is common. So these are the words again coined by scientists, and his model goes this way. He says machine learning is what happens today. Well, already moving towards we call machine intelligence, but we are unable to really have machines with that level of general intelligence that is given here. We even when we do intelligence, we just broaden that, and we don't change the multiplicity of those learning. So even if a machine does driving better, it is just doing driving better like a human driver. But it still doesn't do anything on cooking, for example. So that's the point we are trying to say. While you might have a driver who is also a cook. So therefore, even when machine intelligence broadens the intelligence, it is just becoming more and more human-like, again limited to the task levels that I mentioned. Then machine consciousness is again broadening in terms of further broadening of how much of, for example, you see, well, this model is given here from that reference. So he calls it as artificial super intelligence, and the term, this is more of a concept now, what machine consciousness would mean. That would mean awareness. So at the moment, you can say how large time and space awareness can be built in the machine, right? So that's the level of, this could be cloud, this could be the whole internet. If internet could become conscious as it is trying to, what would that be? So a lot of intelligence, the advantages of internet and advantages of man-made solutions are already coming up. So even when they are limited in one way, that is only a conceptual, but they are very useful. So that this limitation doesn't mean for some of you catching the negativity, but this limitation means very usefulness. So their usefulness is guaranteed. Therefore, uh, we might say in terms of consciousness and all, some kind of, or intelligence as all in limited sense, but the way it is limited, the more it is useful also. So probably, again, this is not a contradiction. This is not an anomaly. This is just a way of understanding the words that are being used here. Well, what is this spiritual intelligence that we thought today of talking? So it's a higher dimension of intelligence. That's some definition. I think I missed the reference. So some of the material that I could catch hold of after choosing the topic for discussion. So I felt this came first. The topic came first, and then some of the experiences were already there, and some few references, some material came from others also. As I said, there are many scientists and other people working. So these terms have already been coined. So this definition has come in. So in a way, wisdom, compassion, integrity, joy, love, so these are now larger. And there is a one word here, peace. Well, so many dimensions. Each one of them itself will go a long way. For example, could you assume machines with integrity, joy, love, with creativity, peace? Maybe in some other dimension, in other ways, you might define their peace, maybe their stability. But what about creativity? So there could be parallels here, but this definition is far, beyond. Well, for humans it is fine, but for others, for humans also the definition is fine. But have we achieved wisdom? Have we achieved compassion? Have we achieved integrity? Have we achieved joy? Have we achieved everything? Or have each one of us achieved that? Maybe, may not be. So therefore, our spiritual intelligence is also limited, far limited than any other levels of IQ that that was thrown long ago as a element of human performance. Okay, so some model again. This is one model simplified. IQ on one hand, and well, these are the terms now very commonly used in many, coaches, many training and development programs. So in a way now this is one model that okay, IQ, EQ, together we call it SQ. That could be one model. Simple. Well, again, it's a crudely but reasonably managing the human mind in two senses, two styles. Another model similar to that, well, this is more prevalent. I saw in literature. Uh, it is like giving a hierarchy, and this probably may suit you better. So physical intelligence, like more like animals or living beings altogether, even plants, and then mental intelligence for humans, emotional intelligence. Now at times you say, oh, animals have emotions. So this is also not truly linearly hierarchical, but maybe you will find physical intelligence and emotional intelligence in animals also, and mental intelligence maybe more of a human connect, and then spiritual intelligence. So this is one. To me, it is something that is very commonly used is small mind versus big mind. So most of us limit ourselves when we exercise too much on early level of intelligence and try to close it there, and then don't reach the spiritual levels of intelligence. So probably the parameters mentioned in the previous slide, in a way, so some kind of what we call devils or what evils, that we virtues and evils. So when we somehow get inclined toward evils, maybe we limit our mind and leave our spiritual intelligence limited. And anyway, the life is limited, so anyway we don't have scope for further improvement. So there's another. These are some of the other things we might consider. Now, there are now, other than previous slides had some dimensions. Now, in a way, these are principles, Zohar's principles. Maybe we can take them as dimensions, as awareness, spontaneity, being vision and value led. Vision might seem physical, but vision here is more of again mental, and values are also more mental and spiritual. Holism. So these words are not easily defined, but see, some scientists, spiritual scientists, should we call him or her? I don't know. Zohar's principles. So 12 principles or 12 elements, whichever way you want to take them. So the each word of the concept, for example, ninth says tendency to ask fundamental why questions. This is assumed to be part of the scientists. Probably is that the first thing that comes? Self-awareness. We may not consider. We consider as if the fundamental science comes from why questions. Maybe all scientists already have this nine, if they really tend to be scientists with that nine, with that quality, virtue of why on everything. Or is that they say, why should I? So why could be negative, why could be progressive in science, and ability to reframe positive. So there are many principles here, and maybe we will, once we look at these 12 parameters, we might be afraid whether we have any level of spiritual intelligence or not, even while being in science. But they are worth pondering. So how to develop it? I will share few things here. Maybe will like to see how we move on now, and see the time available. How far? I will see. Maybe few more minutes. I would like to close so that we could have more interaction. So yeah, ultimately it means that yeah, some ego now. As I said, the small might limit itself in the height of ego. So it is something ego that is discussed in spiritual or in common discussions also, where people find that when we think we are, we develop an ego, and we think we already know enough, or we are already good enough. So this ego, whichever way you define it, so a little bit of that might be useful, but largely it might be limiting. And so therefore, moving away from this ego could be a way out. Consider it. So these are some of the word that so higher self or higher. So there is something called lower and higher self. Similar to what I said, lower one. What is that? Small mind versus big mind. So imagine big mind is like small net versus internet. Small cloud versus big cloud. So in a way, how much of that dimensions of space in physical sense or in terms of the virtual sense or in terms of the space you have it. Your mind is anyway full of space. Imagining and doing anything in your mind. So these are some of the issues, but up to you again. But we'll elaborate a little more in next few slides. So consciousness, as the definition given here, is that largely sentience of awareness of internal and external existence. So, how far? Many of us will move towards external existence and never think about internal existence. So, this internal versus external existence itself is a big question, though it is what the definition says as in its simplest form. So, therefore, spiritual intelligence, even when we discuss today, may not come so easily. And well, these are some of my thoughts that I already shared in some other forum. Whether you agree or not, you can just look at the title and be with it or leave it. It's again some experiences that I had uh, on ego levels, not from me, but from people around us. So um, some thoughts here. I leave it to you. You leave it to you while reading, whether you are with them or not. But the title is what is encompassing all the thoughts. Well, there is some level I said here that though we may have this art, at somewhere this is an art. I mean, as I said, I follow some practices of art of living and other forums of practices taught by some gurus. So basically, at some level, you might develop this art. So when the balance of that internal existence versus external existence comes in, that is where probably you may have a built up of art. So, so stability. I many times use single word from control systems, stability. Which is part of all systems behavior. So if you develop that, for you it becomes art because you have inculcated it. You might have not fully understood it, but you have developed that art of having that stability, peace, patience, etc., etc. So those are some of the indications. Though one may not have a whole knowledge sharing of one's behavior, because as I said initially, if each one of us is different or unique, each one of us may not follow everything stated in such discourses. So you all may have to develop that individually. So that's another problem. So this is where I would say there's no common science, common knowledge that everybody will learn spirituality and they will gain their intelligence. So this is they will have to develop their own level of development. So beyond a level, they will not be able to develop, and they will have to develop on their own. There's no way that science will develop other spiritual intelligence. So quite unlikely. So these are some of the thoughts coming automatically from the discussion. Well, if you really achieve that state, you are the you are a permanent servant from the nature. So you become element or we say in phase with nature, if you say. So you become absolutely trouble free, painless, maybe joyful, and then you are the concourse. I mean, the term I felt. So somewhere then you become a medium of natural actions because you have nothing of your own. So, well, that's something uh, far-reaching for some of us, but that's the way I felt putting these thoughts here also. So it's as if I'm trying to use the word resistance. So ego becomes your internal resistance. How much you need it? You may say, "Oh, superconducting is not possible." Maybe yes, maybe not. And at the same time, the more resistance you have, the more trouble you are making to the human body mind system. So you it is how you yourself can reduce that. Is there a way of doing it? Is it a material resistance or is it some virtual? All these are thoughts for you. Well, I will try to close it earliest. So how to do that? Oh, you get all upgrades for your mobile devices. So do you get upgrades for yourself, or you upgrade yourself anyway, or you say that, oh, anyway, I'm learning on a daily basis. I'm experiencing, so I'm wiser every day. So every day is my upgrade. No, if you want to have an upgrade from nature, there are ways. As I said, the meditating experiences are where you agree. I mean, one of the practice that in meditation we say is that, so I am nothing. It says, I am nothing. I want nothing. And I do nothing. This is one of the practice that I mentioned, followed in meditation from Art of Living. So this is one simple rule, not for a whole day you say like that, only for the duration that you want to have some kind of receiving, downloading. So you can download from nature at times, you decide when, daily or whatever. So there are ways of you know upgrading. So then you may connect. It's like whenever, or you are waiting for the new version to come, maybe nature gives you a new version and you get your upgrades. And even then you may not upgrade. You say, oh, I don't want to upgrade, it's fine here, already fine with me. I don't want to have a next version of myself. Consider all these thoughts that are obvious to everyone using the current devices. So there is a need to upgrade ourselves. You can't say I am 60 years old, so am I today, and I don't need any upgrade. Well, if you don't have upgrades, what happens to your mobile phone if it is not upgraded? Think about it. So there, you can decide from the analogies. Thank you very much. Uh, no conclusions here. All postulations. I hope it has created enough thoughts for further pondering. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful space, and it could help us to explore whatever within us. And I wish we wish your like good health as you are taking retirement. And so I would like to thanks everyone present in this webinar, and every scientist from various lab of CSIR, and along with that school students and teachers. And I think this webinar could help us to explore our intelligence, to upgrade our intelligence, and whatever age we are in, that doesn't matter. So we can move forward to upgrade our intelligence, upgrade our knowledge through every aspect in our life. Thank you, sir.
Aminul, do we have any questions? If you can check out, otherwise,
So,
or
ma'am,
maybe we can ask audience who is present here if they have any questions. Yeah.
so I would like to request if anyone have any questions regarding this webinar, and any curiosity you can ask through this webinar. And
By the time, maybe, sir, I can ask. Maybe I have two questions. So, my first question is, sir, like we know that child has a high level of curiosity actually, and with the age we get mature, we lose that curiosity. So, according to you, with your experience, how should we handle that curiosity? Like, should we give them the correct answer to the questions they ask? Because, like in our, if I share as experience, as a child, generally parents avoid, okay, leave it or something. They try to give some answers which are, golmol kar dete hain baaton ko. So what is the best way? Should we how should we treat a child so that it retains that curiosity over a period and like retains it when he grows up?
Shall I answer, or I have a question to answer that question? The
Yes,
question
sir.
is, who is asking? Is the child asking or the mother asking? Here the mother is asking for a child.
Yes.
Why is mother asking for the child? Why is the child? Why is not the child asking the question?
No, child is asking definitely. That's why that's a kind of even learning I want to have for
So-
myself also, even for other kids
So
also.
why are we worried about our children? Let them learn of their own, and that will be the best we can do to them.
Okay. What will be our role, sir, then, as a parent?
As I said, I do nothing. So if this process is seen, how do you think you are making them intelligent? How is a mother beyond a limit? If that were the case, a child is delivered and remains with mother for few years. You look at the process, and then naturally, child is in the hands of school teachers. This is the way it is. Well, we could change this model, but this is the model accepted all over time, space, and people. If I say no country has probably a different model, minor deviations may exist. So if the child is, again, I'm not saying when the child goes to school that probably there is no role of parenting. We may go on cussing parents versus teachers and teacher versus parents, and we might have that dilemma because both seem to be taking some role. But truly, ask the child, what does the child consider? What does the child? Each child takes this mother versus a mother or parents versus teachers role very differently. So as you ask, if you ask the teachers, sorry, parents role, then I will say, yeah, give them the freedom of their own actions and watch them from a distance. That would be the simplest thing I could say right now to answer your question. The space that one gets is the space in which the child gets developed. So if you shrink their space, it's giving them less GB of memory. So say, don't use your memory, I will give you my own memory. So why? So you are not giving them growth if you are giving them lesser of space. So to me, space is what we want to see them working. So if they have more space, they will have more development. From my side, as a parent, I would say that way.
Okay. So second thing, second question from my side, in your 39 years of services, at some point of time, you got connected with spirituality. Uh, what made you realize that you can connect science with spirituality?
No conscious thoughts here. I would say, I would answer that as a child when I said whether you are asking or your child is asking. I would say the internal propulsion came automatically. They say there are no choices or you don't plan things. You just let them happen. If you let them happen, then probably it is naturally happening. And no claims can be made that, oh, no, I decided to do this. And I continues to grow. As long as I continues and then claims continue, then you are limited. So therefore, I would say there was no plan. It just came inclined without full knowledge. So as long as you are developing, you can't claim that I did it. That's what I'm trying to say. We cannot say I'm developing and I am developing myself. It is just facilitating, not not a claim. It is not a claim. It is just the inclinations that happen and we let them happen. So it came to me. It appeared as a available resource. So we just went on to that. So there is no. I won't say there is clear answer for claiming anything here. But as if you ask how it connected with science, we were already with science. So in a way, I would say last 20 years, at some stage, I felt this seems to be for me, and then the two got joined. And there is no claim, as I said, my suggestions are only parallels. There are no one cause becoming the effect on others. So they said both are influencing each other. So I can only say correlations. No cause effect, no claims. Science was already part of, and it's actually not only for science. It could be for anybody. This presentation is not for scientists. I would say success and spirituality go together. So success means you are connecting to people, you are connecting to nature, you are connecting to space. So that whatever we discussed is not just for science, it's just for a scientific approach in life. In a way, as we say, even economists, even artists, even political scientists, anybody in their venture can have scientific approach. So normally we say we limit ourselves only to scientific approach. Actually, we could always say to spiritual approach, to politics, spiritual approach, to social science, spiritual approach, to teaching, spiritual approach, to anything, spiritual approach to cooking, spiritual approach to any field that one is.
Right, sir. So that's all from my side. If there is any other question from the audience, they can raise hand or they can unmute themselves. So there is Vipin Srivastav, he's trying to ask, can you check Aminul if he's there?
I'm checking. No, ma'am, I can't find him.
Okay, so he's actually typing on to the YouTube, but we couldn't see him here. Yeah, yes.
सर भूपेंद्र सिंह जी बोलती सर मैं सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि जैसे मैम ने बोला तो सर जो हमारी सराउंडिंग्स होती हैं सराउंडिंग्स का कितना इम्पैक्ट रहता है मतलब चाहे वो बच्चा है बड़ा है चाहे वो ग्रोन अप है तो मतलब मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि क्या हमें सराउंडिंग्स को ऑल्टर करना चाहिए या नहीं करना चाहिए या वो नेचुरली रहने देना चाहिए
वेरी गुड सो इट्स एक्चुअली अभी देखो अभी हमने इंटरनल एग्जिस्टेंस और एक्सटर्नल एग्जिस्टेंस का कहा ना अब आपने बड़ा अच्छा बैलेंस वो देखा है बॉर्डर क्या है आप अपनी बॉडी को इंटरनल बॉर्डर मानते हैं या अपने किसी और ऑरा को या किसी और थोड़ा सा एक्स्ट्रा मानते हैं कि इन्फ्लुएंस है सो आप वर्ल्ड को इन्फ्लुएंस कर रहे हैं एक्सटर्नल एग्जिस्टेंस को आप भी पार्ट ऑफ द एनवायरनमेंट ये कोई डिस्कनेक्ट नहीं है एक्चुअली एक बॉडी है जो आपका वो बीच में है बस वहां से अंदर बहुत कुछ है तो आपका ये क्वेश्चन था कि बाहर चेंज करें कि अंदर चेंज करें आप देखो उस टाइम क्या जरूरी है बाहर चेंज करने की जरूरत है तो बाहर करिए यही आपकी कॉन्शियसनेस है
मेरा कंफ्यूजन ऐसे आया कि जैसे हम काम करते हैं तो काफी सारी चीजें होती हैं कि हमें नेचुरली वैसे रहने देनी चाहिए और वैसे भी होनी चाहिए क्योंकि हमारा अपना है और बाकी जो है हम बाकियों को नहीं कर सकते बट अपना हम कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं ऐसे होता है कि हमारा ये रहता है कि चलो जैसे मैडम ने क्वेश्चन पूछा कि हमें कैसे करना चाहिए आपने आंसर किया कि उनको वैसे रहने दीजिए तो वो बड़ा अच्छा लगा कि हाँ चलो नेचुरली वो करेगा बट उसमें जो वो जैसे बच्चा खेलने जा रहा है कहीं जा रहा है तो उस पे उसके एनवायरनमेंट का इफेक्ट तो पड़ेगा ना जी जिस सराउंडिंग में वो जा रहा है तो मतलब इस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू पे जैसे बड़े भी हैं बड़ों की भी अपनी कंपनी है फ्रेंड सर्कल है ना तो इस चीज का इफेक्ट तो पड़ेगा ना जी
मेरा आंसर ये है कि हम ना अपना और एनवायरनमेंट का बात करें किसी और की बात ना करें
जी जी
तो वो डिस्कशन हो पाएगा अगर हम ये कहें हम उनके लिए किसी और को रखेंगे तो फिर वो नहीं आ रहा ना पिक्चर में वो अपने आप में बड़ी इंडिपेंडेंट लिविंग बीइंग है इसलिए उसके बारे में ना करें हम अपना कर सकते हैं ना आपका क्वेश्चन ले सकते हैं कि मेरा अपना थॉट ये है और मुझे बाहर चेंज करना है कि अंदर चेंज करना है उसका जवाब ये है कभी आपको अंदर से बाहर चेंज करना है कभी बाहर से अंदर चेंज करना है ये कोई रूल नहीं है कि हमेशा बाहर वाले को टच नहीं करेंगे हम अंदर से चेंज करेंगे तो ये कहना चाह रहे हैं आपका कॉन्शियसनेस लेवल ही टेस्ट है आपका क्वेश्चन बहुत बढ़िया है आपने सही क्वेश्चन किया यही डायलेमा है सबका कि हमने बाहर का ये क्वेश्चन मैं नहीं कह रहा परमानेंट रूल नहीं है कि बाहर चेंज नहीं करना और अंदर चेंज करना है या अंदर चेंज करना है बाहर नहीं करना कब कौन सा करना है यही आपकी स्पिरिचुअल इंटेलिजेंस है और अगर आपने गलती की तो उसी से सीखना है कि मैं बाहर ऐसे चेंज करता रहा मुझे अंदर चेंज कर लेना चाहिए
ठीक है जी आप समझ आ गई जी बिल्कुल अच्छा आंसर किया
हाँ तो आपको यही आपकी इंटेलिजेंस है आपने तो टॉपिक का क्वेश्चन ही टाइटल क्वेश्चन बना दिया आई वुड से $1 मिलियन क्वेश्चन है पर ये रूल नहीं है इसका रूल नहीं बना लेना कि हमेशा ब्लाइंडली उन्होंने किसी ने कहा था कैसे करना है ये किसी ने कहा था नहीं चलेगा आपने ही डिसाइड करना है और आपने ही उसको ग्रोथ करनी है अपनी इंटेलिजेंस स्पिरिचुअल इंटेलिजेंस इंडिविजुअल पाथवे है ये कोई किसी और का नहीं आएगा आपके ऊपर किसी और का फॉलो नहीं करना है ये बातें कर रहे हैं सीखने के लिए आप बाहर से अंदर सीख सकते हैं लेकिन करना बाद में अपने मन की है ना जो आपको अच्छा लगेगा वो करना फिर वो अच्छा लगने के बाद नहीं लगा अच्छा बाद में आपको अभी अच्छा लगा कि ये करना चाहिए, थोड़ी देर बाद अच्छा लगा कि यार ये हुआ ही नहीं, फिर आपको पता लग गया ना कि वो जब अच्छा लग रहा था अब अच्छा नहीं लग रहा। पहले
बहुत
आपने
बढ़िया
अच्छा
सर।
सोच के किया कि अच्छा लग रहा है, गुलाब जामुन खाना अच्छा लग रहा है, फिर थोड़ी देर बाद पता लग रहा है तो अच्छा नहीं है, फिर आप सोचो ना कि क्या अच्छा था क्या नहीं अच्छा, इसमें रूल क्या चलेगा हमारा, किसी और का रूल नहीं चलेगा। मैंने यही कहा साइंस की नॉलेज ये उतनी तक है जितनी हम डिस्कोर्स में कर रहे हैं, उसके बाद ये इंडिविजुअल डेवलपमेंट।
बहुत बढ़िया सर, आपने मुझे क्लैरिटी दी सर, थैंक यू। एंड सर आपके स्वास्थ्य के लिए, आगे जीवन के लिए आपको बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। धन्यवाद सर।
थैंक यू, थैंक यू।
सर मेरा भी एक छोटा सा ये क्वेश्चन है। जैसे कि लाइक वेयर दिस जिज्ञासा program is for school students and all, so my question is like there must be some activities related to increase the spiritual intelligence, and I hope there will be some exercise. So if there is some exercise, तो ये schools में हम लोग implement कर सकते हैं, या we can suggest schools to uh, do some exercise to grow students spirituality, and they can grow their like that subconscious mind and all. So is there any exercise available, or is there any exercise that schools can adopt?
यस, बट चिल्ड्रन के लिए तो बहुत प्रोग्राम है, इवन इंट्यूशन प्रोग्राम्स हैं जो बड़ों के लिए भी नहीं है। आप कभी देखना, अभी इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे उनके बारे में डिटेल हम नहीं दे पाएंगे, देना उचित नहीं होगा, पर ऐसे प्रोग्राम्स हैं जो बच्चों को दिखाएंगे, आपको उनकी परफॉर्मेंस से पता लगता है कि जैसे मैं कुछ एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ कि वो आंखें बंद करके पढ़ सकते हैं, आंखें बंद करके वो देख सकते हैं कि कलर क्या है, बहुत सारे हम भी हैरान हैं कि वो क्या क्या कर सकते हैं। तो वो ऐसे उनके इंट्यूशन प्रोग्राम्स हैं, ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम्स हैं जो बच्चों को, पर हम इस मैं कहूँगा इसमें वो लालच से नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम एक नोबल वे में करिए, ये नहीं कि वो हम जल्दी कुछ कर लेंगे, ऐसा कुछ नहीं कर लेंगे, वो स्पिरिचुअल इंटेलिजेंस को नेचुरल वे में चलने देंगे, बट हाँ हम फैसिलिटेट कर सकते हैं कि उनको कुछ जो जैसे पहला क्वेश्चन भी था कि उनके लिए एज ए मदर और एज ए पेरेंट बात कर रहे थे हम, टीचर भी बात कर सकते हैं। हाँ, तो कुछ प्रोग्राम्स होते हैं जो उनको हैं ऑलरेडी, उनके बारे में हम लोग बात कर सकते हैं स्कूल के लिए। इंट्यूशन प्रोग्राम्स मैं एक टाइटल दे रहा हूँ अभी, और वो हैं बच्चों के लिए टारगेटेड हैं, और वो बच्चों के साइंस को बढ़ाते हुए स्पिरिचुअलिटी को बढ़ा सकते हैं, फिर वो उस पाथवे पे आ सकते हैं।
Aminul, there are 2 more questions on YouTube. Can you please take? Yeah. Dr. Nirja also is having. Nirja? Yes.
Yes, thank you, Pooja. Good morning, sir. Sir, I want to ask only one question. Actually, nowadays, online courses and online studies are increasing in schools as well as in colleges. Even the scientists, they are more onto the online. So, is there, as we are finding the change in behavior of children and everybody, so is there any role of spirituality to just improve their mental health while being online?
See, many times we say meditation or medication. So yes, there is a way, but see, ये नहीं है कि ये कोई बीमारी का इलाज नहीं है, it's not a straight treatment for something. These are practices we follow, and as I said, they improve. So yes, basically one has to have restfulness on a daily basis. Restfulness, relaxation, some time spent on a daily basis is required. So some disconnect actually from the world of, say, computers or physical world, and then connect to the spiritual world is basically silence. As I said, just sit relax for a few minutes on a daily basis. In fact, twice a day, if possible, for elders. So the more you feel restlessness, the more shows that there are errors in spiritual path, isn't it? Why are we restless? Okay, by the way, why are we restless? Because as somebody rightly said, there is some external element, there is some internal element, and they are in conflict, isn't it? Can we say that? So maybe your question was largely on classroom thinking and online thinking, online classes. Is that the load? Is that the information load you are saying? I'm just trying to understand.
So information load, screen load means the children are inside for the whole day. And they have means earlier we were used to say no mobile phones, no TV, eyes kharab ho jayenge. But nowadays we ourselves are giving them the phones.
So is it our contradiction? Is it not our interference in their life?
Sir, but according to the situation, we have to give this because we want to provide them education.
Why we have to provide, we have to force them education. I'm not saying, find ways that are suited to them. So there is a need for, see, the problem now I can say is, as a teacher, we want all 40 students to be alike, right? Is that what you want? Is that what
So
we
not
want? All
alike
40
means
students to be alike in the sense, or equally in some sense of, so some kind of class we want to build. That means we want to have identical parameters of all 40, some identical parameters. So where is their individuality?
yes, sir. Actually, there is a long going debate, we can say, on the online teaching and the offline teaching. Means nowadays that is the hot topic for the debate.
That's very cliche, I would say. Comparing online, there is a teaching that we all agree. Requirement of teaching, whether we do online, offline, midline, or hybrid line, whatever we do is our problem. If we really
Yes,
want to help them, then we have to find ways that are helping them.
Yes, sir.
So we can't
Just because of the lack in physical activities, so are there any special exercises those we can provide them for the mental well-being?
Yeah, there are programs for children. There are programs for children, and they are similar programs as far as relaxations are concerned. They are similar. They are similar. But there are programs, yes. I mean, there are not. I would say they must relax for some time. They must play for some time. They must have their freedom for some time. My answer to your question is, give them some more space, some more time to develop themselves. Then only the education can do something. If we are packing them with their baggage earlier we used to say their bag should be light. Today we are saying their information load should be light. So we are in trouble. I think we are having problems. They are not having problems. This is our problem. And we are just claiming that we are doing good to them. Isn't it? We are doing probably over parenting or over education in the name of education. I would only say our practices need to have more of reviews, more of, like we say, education policies, and saying that virtual means have become the only ways, then we have to find more ways, hybrid ways.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Sir, there are two questions I collected from YouTube. I'm just reading that. So one asks this: can you throw some uh, can you possibly throw some light on the physiological basis of intelligence? So he's asking about physiological basis of intelligence, sir.
Physiological basis is like the physical intelligence we said. The mundane, see, all the tasks that you talk, walk, and you start developing in the early stage, early living in the early few years. That's physiological, and some of the biological intelligence goes inside that we all are unaware. Why our liver is functioning, or why our lungs are functioning, or how our stomach is digesting, how we are breathing. There's a huge intelligence behind that. Well, probably that's not the question, but I'm relating that physiological to little bit of biological intelligence. But probably the question pertains to physical intelligence, how we put ourselves in that real world. That mundane task, they're like animals, same way. The level of intelligence that animals possess is what we call as physiological intelligence. Physical intelligence, also said in some crude way. The term is physical intelligence because the person is able to perform in the physical world.
Okay, sir. There is one more question added to this. How is spiritual intelligence different from the neural intelligence? Natural intelligence.
Oh, that could be another. See, natural intelligence. Natural intelligence is not a term for human as such. I don't know how. Maybe if somebody is equating it to spiritual intelligence, then it's okay. But the term as we put it in physical, see, you saw the intelligence, physical intelligence, mental intelligence, emotional intelligence, and then largely we said as spiritual intelligence. So this is how it is. I mean, these are the terms accepted by, again, scientists or some people. So it's, but if somebody calls it natural intelligence, okay. So put together in absolute freedom sense, we may, if somebody wants to make it as synonym, maybe yes, as a similar name to spiritual intelligence.
Okay, sir. So there is one person is waiting on the. I think I like to call Akhilesh. I think to unmute Bipin ji. So he is waiting.